Hello, and welcome to Design to Manifest, the podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Wentworth. Design to Manifest features conversations with creatives, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, healers, and visionaries who have turned their ideas into reality. Hello, and welcome to Design to Manifest, a podcast about the intentional and sometimes unexpected ways people design the life and the work they're meant to create. Today, my special guest is someone I've known and admired for a long time, East Coaster and legendary DJ Junior Sanchez, who is a producer and an OG of the house music scene. He's been shaping dance floors and influencing the culture for decades, and his fingerprints are on records you've heard over and over, whether you knew it or not. From Madonna, Ariana Grande, Azealia Banks, and many, many more. His label Brobot has been going strong for over 2 decades and is one of the top performing labels on Beatport. But here's what I love about Junior. The music is just the beginning. He's a devoted husband and father. He's out in his community. He cares about justice in the world where a lot of people stay quiet. And he moves through the industry with integrity and with heart. Junior, welcome to Design to Manifest.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much for having me on. It's amazing. Thank you. Good to see you.
Junior, it's so good to see you too. I'm so happy that we had this time to do this. And Junior, with my opening question to you, I'm curious, what does Design to Manifest mean to you?
Obviously, in a literal sense, it means design to manifest. But to me, my interpretation is kind of you're manifesting creativity, you're manifesting things that are artistic, you're manifesting culture, you're manifesting style, you're manifesting things that are deep inside your heart and soul, because everything is a design, right? Whether you're singing a song, whether you're curating a building, whether you're designing a space, it's part of a design.
Yes, you got to design it before you manifest it. I'm curious, as a kid, were you musical? I know that you're like an OG house guy, like you were there from the beginning. And so can you just tell me, like, as a child, first of all, where did you grow up and were you surrounded by music? Like, how did you discover music?
I grew up youngest of 6, and I grew up in like Newark, New Jersey, down neck in the Ironbound section, very Portuguese, Italian, and Brazilian. Italian kind of section of Newark. My mom was born in Brazil, but both her parents, my grandparents, are both from Italy. They're Italian. So that's my mom's lineage. My dad's Peruvian.
That's why we have that beautiful skin. Thank you, mamas.
Thank you, mama. Thank you, my mom. Yeah, God bless her soul. She passed away in January 7th of this year. So it's been a tough beginning year, but she's good. She's with us. Yeah, I grew up with my mom playing music all day, every day, all the time, especially on the weekends when we had to time to clean. You heard the music on and the vacuum on. That means wake up, get your asses up, and start cleaning the house. But my mother would listen to everything from Belgia Bell to Martinho da Vila, a lot of Brazilian artists, Camille Silva. And then she listened to a lot of Cuban artists or Willie Colon, Celia Cruz, a lot of salsa, merengue, everything. So my mother was really musically inclined. So she had records. That was a format that she listened to music in, was records. And then all my brothers and my sister, they bought vinyl as the format that they listened to. They weren't DJs. That was just the format that they listened to music on. So when they all left, they left me a lot of music. So I inherited a lot of amazing music from all my siblings. So that's why my palette is very broad when it comes to music. So
can you tell us a little bit of the background, what year that this was, that your siblings left you all these records? Like, what kind of records were
probably 1986, 87. I was 11 when I was 88. So I was a kid. I was like, a child. I'm the youngest. So they all moved, they all had their lives and moved out the house, school, whatever, work. They didn't take the vinyl with them because it's not like they cared about it or they were DJs. They were just, that was a format. So it was probably too cumbersome. They probably, bought CDs or something at that time.
Can you tell me what kind of records were they?
Sure.
Like, do you remember?
It's like my sister would have like ELO or Boston, and my brother would have KMFDM and New Order, Depeche Mode, and my other brother would have like Slick Rick, and my other brother would have like Alphaville. So it was just across the board. Like Brother Michael would have the Smiths, a lot of stuff. So it would just be a vast array of music from everything. So I grew up listening to just, very great records from a young age.
You listened to full albums.
Full albums. you know? And then when I heard house music for the first time, like Tyree Cooper, Acid Crash, that was like okay, this is my moment. This is me. This is all mine. Don't take it from me type of thing, you know?
And can you tell me a little bit about how did you find house music and how old were you?
I was young. I remember being in like elementary school. My brothers were into like freestyle, whether it be Coro or Cynthia, you know. And then there was a family member of mine so he was my sister-in-law's brother-in-law's brother, if that makes any sense. But by the name of Jose Chinga, his name was Tony Rodriguez. He did a song called Flight Death, which was kind of a really big Latin freestyle track. But he also did Joey Kid, Everything I Own, everything. So when she came over and saw that I had records, she was like, my brother-in-law's brother does music. Would you like to meet him? So I did. And he was like my first mentor into this as a young, I was 10 years old. That was like the first catalyst of me getting introduced to like house music and freestyle for real, without just listening to it, you know, from my brother's car or something. That's when the bug hit. I listened to Tyree Cooper, Acid Crash. It was on the flip side of a freestyle record called That's Hot by Trilogy. It's like a bootleg. I fell in love with house music from then on. It was just like, it was just part of my DNA.
So at 10 years old, you found house music through this record on the flip side. And from that, how did you keep finding house music? I mean, obviously you're too young to go to clubs.
So I used to in order to do my first communion, my brother lived with Tony in a basement in Irvington, New Jersey. So I asked my mother if I can go there and visit my brother because I knew that Tony had a studio in a basement. So she said, you can go there if you do catechism or something at the time. So I did that. I would go there on the weekends and spend time there. And that's where I hang out with Tony. And he didn't treat me like a kid. He talked to me like a normal person. He gave me my first crate of records. I would say, you know, around 88. So I'm already getting older. I would go there. So let's say for the first year, I was going there a lot. And then obviously he was working. I wouldn't want to be a pest, but I would that was the first studio I saw. I mimicked his cologne. He wore Quorum cologne. Like I was like very like, you know, I'm enamored by him. I started DJing from then. Like, so I was DJing at 10, 11, 12 years old, had already started DJing at home in my closet, like with decks. But I started my first residency was at Thierry Mugler Room at Club USA. I was 14, 15 years old. So I was young. And then from then, Limelight.
This is so cool to me because 10 to 14 years old, you were like, I want to DJ. So how did you even know what that was? Like, did you see other guys DJing? And how did you get your parents to buy you decks and put it in your
I
bedroom?
did, my parents didn't buy me decks. It was my girlfriend's parents who bought me decks at the time. Her name was Brianna Roccamonte, and her family I owe a lot to. They were like the first believers in me. And her mother was Jewish, father was Italian, and we started dating. There was one Christmas, her parents bought me one 1210. It was black, but had the European plug on it, so I had to go to a Radio Shack to get the converter. And then the next year, they bought me the other one. But they were super supportive. I love them to this day, and I reach out as much as I can to them. They just really believed, and they were the first people. It's not like my mother didn't believe. My mother's old school. She was raised in a convent. She's Brazilian. She's older. She didn't really understand what I was doing. She thought I was going to Limelight as a church and it was a cult. She had her perspective was super skewed and not, you know, I was a good kid, just wanted to be outside. There was nothing bad about what I was doing. But that's how I got my turntables. Before that, I had Ricky Dink turntables. So they didn't cost much. So I just found them, got them, you know, had enough change to buy belt-driven turntables that were like, you know, basically not expensive at all. So I had belt-driven turntables prior to 1200s that I would use in DJ. But before that, even my mother had two record players. She had a 8-track that you can touch, and then she had a really nice stereo system that we weren't supposed to touch. And there were two separate systems, with like one speaker on one system. So I would just bring the volume up on one and volume up and down and just imagine myself DJing on two different stereo systems.
Incredible. You kind of manifested it like you were living it. You were already embodying it. And
I definitely manifested it. Yeah. When I look back now, I definitely manifested a lot of things in life. There's a lot of little quinky dinks that happen in my life. For example, like I told you before, I saw my first studio at Tony Rodriguez's basement at 11 years old-ish. Fast forward when I was like 14, I think, I was playing at Limelight and some guy comes up to me and says, hey, can you make music like the stuff you're playing? I completely lied and said yes, which I couldn't. Like I never made music before. And I went to his studio. It was in like far away New Jersey. I had a friend of mine take me. And when I went downstairs to his studio, there was an energy that was familiar. And I was really inquisitive, like, how much is that? Would you get that? And then when it came to the mixing board, it was like this Tascam desk. And he's like, I just bought it off this guy. His name's Tony Rodriguez. He was selling it. So the first mixing console I saw when I was 11, I wound up making my first record on when I was a little older. So I found that to be a little bit of a sign. So I was like, okay. And I felt that, acknowledge it. I remember thinking at that moment it happened, this is kind of cool. Like maybe this is something that I need to do in my life. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in we design our lives, we create it. You know, we bring on any energy that we bring on, whether it be negative or positive, we manifest it. I didn't understand that being young like I do now. I can articulate it, but I do remember when it happened, me going, oh, this is really interesting. Feeling like it was meant to be. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I just want to repeat and bring back to after you had been playing in your bedroom, DJing with like your first really crappy, belt driven turntables. And then later your girlfriend's parents believed in you and bought you a 1200 for Christmas and then bought you another 1200 for Christmas. So at that point, you're starting to DJ in your bedroom and you're like 14 years old. And then tell me about your first DJ gig and then where you kind of went from that.
I was playing a lot in New York at all the Peter Gatien clubs. I was playing at Limelight. I had my residency at Club USA.
Okay,
I did
Junior,
great.
so, like, you just say that like it's, like, so casual, but, what I would love to know is, like, how did that even happen? Like, "Oh, I was playing at
But
Limelight."
it was casual, but it wasn't big. Like it wasn't a big deal because my friends were promoters. I was going there all the time to go out and dance. So it wasn't like, at that time, it wasn't anything kind of, I guess I didn't think it was big because it was just a natural progression of what I was doing. So it wasn't like I was running around school. It's not like I could go to school and go, I'm not playing at Limelight. I don't think anybody really cared. It was almost like even records. Like I would walk around with my records in school, like 12 inches. Nobody looked at it going, oh, you got a record out? You know, a lot of them at that time, the world was jocks, this, that, Green Day, Pearl Jam, maybe house music was kind of big for people. Hip hop was really huge, whether it be commercial stuff or Stretch Armstrong. So it was like, what I was doing was flying under the radar. It wasn't like it was big. And I was dancing on the grind too at that time. MTV's a grind with 4 friends of mine, which is really funny, which is there's like document, you can see it, you know. I think that the grind Instagram channel posted me on my birthday dancing or something. So, uh,
Amazing.
so 2 friends of mine that were on the grind with me were Matt B and Jamel, and they were promoters at Limelight. So they just asked me to play one of their nights. And so that's how that happened. And then I got a residency at the Thierry Mugler Room on Friday nights at Club USA, I think. And then I would play around New York and all that stuff. It wasn't crazy. And then from 94, sophomore in high school, I had my first record out. And that record started getting a lot of play in the UK. Junior Vasquez played it at Sound Factory, New York. And then I met Armand Van Helden around my high school years and we became really close. And I started doing more production. Production started really taking off.
Junior, can you just tell me about that first record and how that came about? Where did you record it? What was the name of it? And
Yeah, the story I told you before, when I went to that dude's house in like New Jersey, that's where I wound up doing my first record. It was on Rough Tracks on Wax, Part 1. I remember pressing it at some plastics, and I think it was in East Newark. I think that's where they press all the Metropolitan record stuff, all the like laissez-faire. You are the sun, I am the sky. Like In Paradise, that was records. And I think they did a lot of reggae there as well. I remember giving that record out at the last New Music Seminar in 1994 in New York City. That's the last time we had a conference. So New York had the same as you have Winter Music Conference. We used to have one in New York called the New Music Seminar. And I remember handing it out to people, and I handed it out to Kenny Dope, and he looked at the logo. He's like, yo, he said that was dope. And that was then. So that's how it started. Armand knew the record because he sampled me on a remix for Tanya Danzler, In and Out of My Life, and I sampled him before we knew each other. So when we met each other, we were like, oh shit, we sampled each other. So we became friends really early on. So people don't really know Armand's 9 years older than me. So I'm 9 years younger than him. So in hindsight, now when I think about it, he was like my big brother and I was like his muse, little wild kid muse.
I'm just curious, Junior, what was the name of that first record?
It was called Tracks on Wax Volume 1, Rough Tracks. It was I Can't Fight This Feeling. I have a video of it actually where DJ Corbett's playing it at the tunnel. You see me in the crowd actually. So it's pretty funny. It was a cool record.
It's the tunnel. Do you remember the tunnel? One of the rooms at the tunnel was the furry
Kenny Scharf room.
room.
Yeah, the Kenny Scharf room, all the fur. That was Kenny Scharf. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
remember that.
once you met Armand and you and Armand had this relationship of little brother, big brother, did you make music with him next, or what was the next evolution after that first record blew up?
Oh no, I started making a lot of records. I put my first Strictly Rhythm record was called The Secret Life. That was very techno, very like fast when it was like this David Bowie thing. And the other side was just like this really ghetto. It's called I Represent, and Sneak used to play it all the time. But I was around Armand when he was doing a lot of his work. So I would sleep over his house and we did a bunch of records together. Obviously, we did Demon Dreams, Subspecies, Mongoloids stuff that we created. We created the Mongoloids during our friendship, which is Mongoloids are like the Wu-Tang / Native Tongues of Houses consists of him, myself, Sneak, Roger, Daft Punk, Basement Jaxx. That's our crew. We were all young. We all knew each other and helped each other and worked with each other on different stuff. Like I remixed Revolution 909 with Roger for Daft Punk and et cetera. We all worked together. This is early on before of the robots. This is early. So we created a unification of young producers from all around the world, like-minded, and we had a crew like the Wu-Tang House.
And so from that, would you say that you were self-taught on how to make house music or just from other producers? Like, how did you learn how to even create music?
So I knew how to play keyboards a little bit because I learned how to listening to like, Just Can't Get Enough or something, everything. So I learned by ear. So I learned how to produce by watching Armand. He taught me how to use a W30 early on. And that was my first real machine that I did music on. It had eight inputs, eight outputs. It was a Roland W30. And then from then on, I got like an Akai S3000. And then I got my first computer, which was like on a Mac Performer. And my first DAW was a Studio Vision Pro. That was the DAW. And then from that went to eMagic Logic, Pro Tools, and Ableton. But I've learned from watching and just paying attention to people, being around Roger and everything early on. And Armand definitely taught me some things. And that's how I kind of really learned how to navigate a W30.
Yeah, surrounding yourself with the guys who were doing it and learning as a kid and just immersing yourself in it. So growing up with your, mother being so traditional, I mean, my
Yeah.
parents also were like, "What? You're 19, you're moving to New York to be a DJ? What?" Yeah. So kind of tell me about how did you keep going? It sounds like it's something that you never even thought of having a different career. Like this was it.
I released my first record in sophomore in high school. As soon as I graduated, I was already releasing tons of records. So I was like, so I graduated in 95, but by 97, I was doing the S-Men with Roger and Sneak. And we opened up for Kraftwerk at Tribal Gathering. So I fell into this thing where I was already making records, doing stuff with Harry, other a Nightbreed, Romero, obviously Subliminal. Myself and Harry and Sneak were all the first people in Subliminal Records. I have the press shot. I'll show it to you here as well. You can show it to people where we started the label. I came up with the name Subliminal for Eric. There's a whole story behind that. That'll take you another hour to talk about that section of my life.
That's the next
But
podcast. Subliminal Records.
yeah, there's a lot
Wow.
of shit. There's a lot. We can go deep. It's a lot going on. But yeah, so S-Men was myself, Roger, Sneak, and Roger came up with this idea to do like the little scratch pickles of house music. And by 97, so I graduated in 95, I was already touring all over the world and putting out records and doing stuff. And that was like my first real foray. And then by 1999, I had Be With You, which is a record, top 10 record in UK in the pop charts with Daje. I was on Mercury. Yeah, a lot of things happened very quick and very fast. And so it was, part of, this was my life. And I signed my first publishing deal when I was like in my 20s to EMI. From then, a lot of different things happened. I opened doors and started doing dance music and led me to produce bands, work with singer-songwriters and do a lot of different things outside of dance music. But dance music will always be my foundation,
And can you tell me a little bit about like early days in DJing? I mean, how did you get to
No,
be an
yeah.
amazing DJ?
No, I definitely got better, I would hope. I mean, I remember hearing myself play when I was drunk, like a tape or something. Like I remember hearing this cassette of me playing in, I think somewhere in Barcelona for this Italian party called Zenith or something. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, that was amazing. And I remember hearing it back, the playback. I was like, oh, that's not good. Um, yeah, you only get better with practice. It's like muscle memory. The more you do it, the more you're going to get, it's like working out. It's like the more you work out, you ain't going to be sloppy. So you got to tighten up. I got better over the years, you know. I mean, I theoretically was always good, but the more you do it, the more you're refined, you know, and the more you have some sort of signature to what you do, you know.
So what kind of DJ producer would you say? Because you're all over the board in so many ways, but what would you say your genre umbrella is?
It's hard to say. I mean, I've released records on Planet E, which is called Craig's label, and it's a pure techno label, and I'm honored to have done that. Not many people can say they could do that. I've done stuff that's very, you know, like my Be With You record was kind of a pop record. I've done underground records, like released on like River Stars label. So it's not really about like one sound. I mean, that could be my Achilles heel because I do a lot of different things, but everything I do is with integrity and with class. So I was never cheesy. It's always kind of, you know, that's why people like an Errol Alkin can know me or someone like a Calvin Harris can know. But I never want to do things that is out of my integrity. I've done a lot of things that are out of my sphere, but nobody knows about it, like produce Gorillas or Morningwood or I'm a Robot. Nobody really knows about that. And I don't talk about that because that's just another side of me that if you are a fan of me, if you know, if you understand, if you follow my career, you would know that. But most people don't know that I even did Azealia Banks and a Winter, you know, because you would have to be credits and that's not something people do today.
Just love music, and it sounds like you're versatile. And growing up, I mean, my mom's Mexican, and we grew up with like, Brazilian bossa nova, Astrid Gilberto. She would play in Mexico outside, and
Yeah.
classical music. And then my dad is German and English, and he would play like the Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd records. And somehow between the beats and the rock, I found house music and techno, which I feel like that is kind of, and even indie and electro and all of that. It's like a hybrid, right? So you definitely have this really big understanding of music. It just came very naturally that you were going to do this as a career. Along the way, what would you say is one of the biggest hurdles to get through to keep this? Because longevity in this, Madonna said once, the most controversial thing that she's ever done was to stick around. So you've had this huge, long career. What would you say is something that has helped you to maintain it?
Not letting the old man in, like feeling young as possible, not to be jaded, being pure of heart, doing this for the sake of art. You know, obviously we got to live. Money is great, but if I, all right, if I were doing this for money, I would have pivoted a long time ago because being in the arts is a roller coaster. There's ups and downs, and there's sometimes just great moments and sometimes just horrible moments. I do this because I really love it. I love what I do. I don't have any other skill outside of useless information with being music knowledge or movie knowledge. And I know how to make a record and I can, I know how to produce well. I can produce electronic music, house music, techno records. If there's a band in front of me, I know how to mic drums and how to track the tape if I have to, like a 24 track, 2-inch tape, Atari MTR90. Like I can do, like I'm that dude. That's just me. It's part of me. And so even if I had all the money in the world, I still would do this because it's just what I love to do. It's just part of my DNA. It's part of how I breathe. It's part of how I live. I love being creative. I love listening to music. I love discovering new music. I love hearing new bands, new artists, new producers, young kids. I mean, I've been an advocate for artists all around. I've helped a lot of people. A lot of people don't even know that as I helped a lot of artists over the course of my life. A lot.
Can you share one of the projects that you worked on or that you helped that you're really excited about that you loved working on?
Sure. When I had my label Cube, I started my label Cube in 1999. There was Kittenz and the Glitz for Felix. That song came out on my label, licensed to Emperor Norton, licensed to City Rockers, executive produced and co-produced by me. A lot of stuff on there that was done in my house in Edison, New Jersey. Tommy Sunshine contributed, wrote facts and lyrics for Silver Screen. There's a lot of mythology to that record, but that record was done, a majority of it, 90% of it in my house, released on my label, and we licensed it to Emperor Norton and to City Rockers, which Damien Lazarus was the A&R at the time, from Crossline Rebels. That's how I know they gave me for a long time. And that was great. I mean, we did a lot. I got Stuart Price to remix Silver Screen. That record lives on today in infamy as one of the best records ever and has helped Felix maintain a long career as well.
Oh yeah, that was one of his biggest hits.
The cover came from the inspiration of DJ Hell's album. I saw it and I realized a friend of mine, Abe Duque in Queens, knew the people who did the cover for that. And I told Felix, you should get these people to do the artwork, even to the artwork, saying. So that's who did the artwork of Felix's album. It's this company in Queens. It's pretty cool. And they did it's called Tension, I believe, Tension. And they did the artwork for the DJ Howe record, which was great. If you ever saw the DJ Howe album, you'll see the similarities to the Kids in the Glitz out.
So that is one of the earlier records that you worked on that you really loved the project. But can you explain to me like kind of the newer stuff, like more of the poppy, I mean, you've
Sure.
worked with so many, like what is it like to work with Madonna?
That was a time, that was Confessions 1. I brought her out to the Misshapes. I brought her to play with me and with Stewart as well. And that was crazy. That completely, I think, changed the trajectory of that record. That was really fun. I remixed Jump for her for that album. And I called it the Misshapes Mix in honor of that night because we literally brought her to Lucan and Leroy's on 7th Avenue. But they didn't believe I was bringing her out, which was crazy. And that was nuts. So when I did that remix for her, I did Bitch on Madonna and I did that and some other stuff. That was fun. I think that was like something that really cemented her with the newer generation of gay kids, more avant-garde, more artistic kids. Because she already had the old school down. She needed the new school,
Whenever you worked with Madonna, what would you say was after that, like what other artists were you excited about after her that's kind of on her caliber? I mean, no one's on her caliber, but I'm just saying like who else would you say you were excited to have worked with?
M.I.A, M.I.A's my homegirl. I did a song with her on her album called Take 'Em Out. That came out in 2010. And then recently I've been doing a lot of music with her. She was on my album last year that came out on Defected on the single called So Hype. She was singing right here in this one. Who else? Recently, The Fuckers. They're a band that were all on Jimmy Fallon. Their EP came out on my label in 2023 called Mothers and a Devil's Haircut. And they went on to open for Tame Impala. Now they're about to do Harry Styles in Brazil, which is great. And I'm working on a side project with Jackson Lewis from that band, which is he's amazing. So stay tuned for that. I mean, a lot of stuff. It's hard to, you're getting engulfed in all these things. It's hard to really, unless it's in front of me, it's hard to remember. But there's so much stuff that I do, and I don't do it because I need accolades or I need it to I need to fuel me, in some way, shape or form, fuel my creativity. Because sometimes it's tough. Sometimes, you're stagnant. You don't know what to do. Sometimes I walk into the studio and just walk right out because I'm just like, ugh. And sometimes you sit here for hours and just create and create and create.
Yeah, you need a muse. You need to keep it fresh. As Todd
Yeah.
Terry says, you got to keep it moving.
Yeah.
He always would say that to me. You got to keep it moving, got to keep it moving, keep it fresh, keep it moving. So, Junior, I'm curious for 2026, what are you manifesting next?
I'm manifesting focus and creativity, good health, great friendships. I'm manifesting the world gets better. I'm manifesting we live through this, whatever this is. And I just want to, be able to create without obstacles, without deaths. I had a lot of deaths this year already between my mother, my friend Reza in LA, and DJ Dan, all dying around the same time. So I just wish that the world heals. We are less divided. I wish that we have a little bit more of love for one another and be more empathetic to one another. It's not really about me. I just want to be on the right path, do the right things for the right reasons. I hope that we can do our art without it being taken away from us, like how our speech and our everything else is being taken away from us. Because art is our only freedom. You can't tell me how to paint or how to sing or how to produce or how to rap or how to write a book, but that might be a freedom that might be taken away.
So, Junior, I'm curious, whenever people want to hear your music, when they want to connect with you, when they want to see what's happening with you, where can they connect with you? Where can they follow you?
I hate to say it, but obviously there's a Spotify's, Apple Music, all the DSPs, obviously TrackSource, Beatport, all that stuff, Deezer, all the typical places. I wish there was one that I could say that I fully support, but there's not much really. We got to take what we can get in this business. Obviously they're all the necessary evils, but I think all those should be a lot more artist friendly, all of them.
And what about on Instagram? Can people follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, all my socials are at Junior Sanchez. Thank God. So it's easy to follow me at Junior Sanchez. On people still call it Twitter, right? But it's X at Junior Sanchez. Facebook's at Junior Sanchez. Even my TikTok is at Junior Sanchez. So it's all I got everything. I got all my socials for me. But yeah, no, you can follow me there. I'm active. I post and I try to stay engaged in the matrix and, play the game. But it's fun. I do enjoy it. TikTok is, TikTok-y is fun. But Instagram, I'm very, very active on.
And Junior, what advice, as we're wrapping up, would you have for a DJ producer, a young person, anybody who wants to do what you have designed to manifest?
Try to stay as true to yourself as possible. Life comes with unsuspected twists and turns. Stay authentic, have fun, do it for the right reasons, make music because it comes from your heart. Don't try to copy and emulate other people. Be influenced. Influence is great. But if you're going to copy and try to do what's happening now, you're just chasing your tail. I believe everyone that has their own fingerprints will eventually create their own sound print, and that is distinctly theirs, and they could be proud of it, and they could evolve that from when they find it.
Another question I have for you, as an OG in the scene and somebody who started out making music when you had a mixing board, you've seen music production evolve so much, and now we have AI. What is your thoughts around that?
I'll leave it at this. People want to say that drum machines or synthesizers were AI. Like technically, synthesizers came in and they took over this, or drum machines took over the drummer. Those are things that have to be programmed by a human and played by a human, even a keyboard. AI has learned to learn from us and not need us and evolve from us. That's a different way of looking at it. I think everything is a tool. I'm not scared of AI. I think AI is very interesting. I think if you use it the right way, you can probably utilize it to make demos, to make ideas, but I don't think prompting is art. I don't think prompting and saying blah, 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 asterisk, sound like this, snare roll, blah, 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 this, that, star, 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 brackets, parentheses, this, that, enter, here's my new song. I don't believe in it. I don't believe that prompting is if I could prompt better than you, or now we have prompting wars, we're making records. I still believe in creativity in human form. I still believe in creating art based on your heart. You can't spell heart without either art or heart. The word art is in there. And I believe you need to, do that. Am I afraid of AI? No, but are things used the wrong way all the time in the history of our world? Absolutely. I think there needs to be more regulations on AI. I think there needs to be like platforms that are just dedicated to music that are artificially created. I think a lot of these DSPs and streaming services need to say, okay, this was created with AI. The trumpets, the horns, the music, the production, whatever it is. I can hear Suno right now. Like when it's done, I can hear how it sounds. It's artifacty. I know how the vocals sound. There's a style to it. It's only going to get better, but I think there needs to be legislation and laws put place where AI should have, like, for example, there should be an AI like Spotify, meaning this is where AI music lives. And you go there to listen to it, and you can, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. But I don't necessarily think that AI is a good thing if you use it the wrong way.
Yeah, it's like anything in life,
Yeah,
right?
like
Like
anything. Yeah,
spirituality, religion, all
yeah,
the
like
things.
ayahuasca is good for you, but if you drink it every day, it's not good.
Exactly. Or pain medication, whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
Tylenol. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Alcohol. Yeah, Junior, you knew me before I got sober. So I've
Oh,
been
that's
sober
amazing.
now
You're sober. How long?
20 years now, 20 years, 2008.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Very,
Thank
very cool. Yeah, I think we
any
all we all had our episodes being drunk, but we're also kids. Think about it now. I don't know how old you are, but we were children living in a crazy life of being just kids, just experimenting, right? But we grew out of that, and we're lucky that we survived that time. There's some people that never got out of it. So God bless you.
Amen. Yeah, I mean, I'm younger than you are, and when we lived back in New York during those times, it was really crazy with Mr. Blacks and all the sex, drugs, and house music. It was just pretty wild back then. I'm so happy that we are still here and we're still making
Yeah,
music in our thing, which it's amazing. It's a
that's
miracle.
awesome. I mean, it's special. I remember there was an artist. Her name's Louisa. You remember Louisa, right?
Yeah, I just talked to her when I was in France, actually. She got married and now she's living in the
Yeah,
countryside.
yeah, I do. I know. She's
Yeah, Miss
sober.
Kitten is her neighbor, and she rides horses, and she's been sober. She's been sober a little longer than I have been, and
Yeah.
Princess Superstar, there's a lot of us who are sober, thank
What's
God.
funny is Louisa reached out to me during the MySpace days when before she was working with Gina Turner, and she reached out. She was like, "Hey, I just remember this I never forget this because it was impactful." She reached out to me and saying she was a fan or whatever, but that she was sober, and my music helped her throughout that process. And this was MySpace days. So to hear, her journey and to see her success and to see what she's done, it's beautiful. It warms my heart. She's
Music
awesome.
is healing.
And we never know who you're going to impact in life at all.
Yes, music is medicine for sure. And thank you for making that medicine, Junior. And I hope that you keep on making it.
I wish you the best. I wish you could smash it, kill it, keep rocking. And I hope to see you soon and in person. Let's break some bread.
Absolutely.
And I want to meet your fiance. I got to vet him. No, he's good. I'm sure he's fantastic.
Yeah, no, for sure. All my DJ brothers get to weigh in, and he's pretty amazing.
Glad you're happy, and I'm glad you're so successful and you're killing it. God bless you.
Thank you, June. So thank you, everyone, for being here. And until next time, keep designing with intention and trusting the path that unfolds. Thank you for being here. And remember, if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. Until next time, now go out and manifest something beautiful.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining me on Design to Manifest. Each week, I feature extraordinary people living extraordinary lives who have designed the life they are meant to manifest. Sometimes intentionally, and sometimes unexpectedly, they share how success and purpose can unfold in ways they never imagined. If this episode inspired you, please share it with someone who might also be inspired, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.